Want some power there?
We have C2 ready to go whenever you're.
Yes. So this is the meeting of the January 6th committee, the consent calendar. We'll review item C2, the ROIC California exterior alteration. It's all for here. All here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guilty. All right, adjust your speakers.
Paul here?
Paul, can you hear us?
Is there a volume on this?
Looks like it's up.
It's all the way up.
There's no
Is good?
blue light on that, though. Hold that down.
Oh, hold down.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's working, okay.
Paul, can you?
It's like, it sounds like he's in a tunnel on this one, like very far away.
King.
I hear something. Paul, are you?
Video is disabled.
He's saying something about disabled.
He said video.
Oh.
Start this video.
Hey, how about now? Is that better? There we go.
Perfect. Hi, Paul, good morning.
Can you hear me also?
Yes, we can see you and hear. Okay. So,
Excellent.
we had really no comments. Have you changed anything substantial, anything that would affect our aesthetics? Since we last,
The only thing would be we changed the tables at the request of ROIC, the shopping center owner, to be a little bit nicer. So we picked some nicer picnic benches to
okay,
appease them. And then also we went out in the field and matched up the colored chips with Sherwin-Williams, I believe, originally. And then the landlords gave us the actual colors of the paint that was previously approved. So we
Okay.
swapped all the paint over to Dunn Edwards and Sherwin-Williams, depending. So those are the new tables with the dog.
okay, and yeah, I look at the drawings online, everything seems fine. We have no comments. There's no landscape involved, right?
No, it's existing landscape to remain. We're not really changing the extent of the planters or anything out there.
All right, good. So we can move this along, make a referral to the committee. This is the January 6th committee, Paul, in case you wonder.
Yeah,
Okay, see you next time. Okay, moving on
thank
to
you. I
C3.
think we can get final and concept today, right? Because I got my planner blessing.
Yeah, it's
So-
preliminary and final, yes.
Yeah, you're on consent, so we'll give you
Yeah,
approval.
thank you. Nice. Have a nice day. And hey, that was a great game, wasn't it, Alex?
Oh, man. If I start thinking about that, I will not concentrate on anything else.
All right. We'll see you at the Yellow Belly sometime. Bye.
So next item is C3, the King alterations, William Nash design. Is William here?
C4 is, Dale, I understand that your item was to be continued. Is that not the case?
My item is not continued. I don't know about it being not continued.
well, your planner told me that it was gonna be continued. I don't know that we have plans for you. Let's see.
Yeah, we have them. They look like what we saw last time. And
Okay, well, just go, I guess we can just go through that.
Yep.
We just pulled that up.
this is C4, right?
Yeah,
So we're
So what happened with
keeping
C3?
C3 until,
C3.
no one's here.
Oh, I have a comment maybe to the planner.
There it is.
Yeah, hold on a second, Dale. Regarding C3, there was a comment, return with window and door details, material board and lighting details, and that's not in the plans. It's a minor project, but that's thing that we requested. So when this gentleman comes back, you gotta remind him to do that. Okay.
He's here now.
Oh, he is. Oh, okay. Sorry, Dale. We're gonna take item C3 first.
Okay.
You,
Yeah.
Mr. Nash, can you hear us?
Hi, how are you today? Sorry about that.
Morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Hey, good morning.
Yes. There were two comments last time. One was to the
Uh-huh.
spacing on the roof, and I saw it in the roof plan. That you're going with a narrower pans, the 16 inches, which is a good idea. The other
Uh-huh.
was another comment about window, door details, material board, and lighting details. And I didn't find it in the submittal. Yeah, the existing roof plan is the next one. In here in the next roof plan, he shows the bats. There it is. He shows the bats. But do you have anything? It's not a big project, and we don't really need a lot. But lighting details is pretty important. Do you have that?
I do. Yeah, that should be one of the sheets near the top. It's materials and lighting. It's in there. I believe you just missed it. It's near the top of the PDF. There you go. Actually, scroll down a little bit. It's past photos, site photos. There we go. A1.4. Excuse me.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. I don't see any door and window details, but
I do not have those, no. But lighting and materials, that would be that.
All right, we'll give you a pass. I think we consider it
Okay.
a small project. We
Okay.
have landscaping, right? Is that correct?
no proposed landscaping
proposed
other than the stairs. New planting.
No plan. Okay, very good. So we'll approve it at the board in a few minutes. Thank you. You're good.
Okay. Thank you.
So we're moving on to C4. This is the Camino Meleno, 1269 Camino Meleno. Dale, you're on. Let's look at the elevation. There was a question about
The brackets.
the
And
brackets.
they're looking to add brackets around the front porch. There's two columns there that you see. And they needed something to embellish it to make it look like more supportive in the beam.
Yeah, this is a great improvement over the original proposal. So thank you. We're ready to go.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. You're good to go. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, that concludes the consent calendar.
Okay, so we have a quorum. We'll just jump right in and begin the Xbox of January 6th, 2023. Starting with item number 1, public comment. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda for today, please step forward or.
These are specific for the minutes.
Okay, so that's during the public comment for the, okay,
We can just wait.
sorry.
You can just wait until it's done.
Oh, I see, okay. All right, so no public comments. Move on to item number 2, elections for the chair and vice chair for 2023.
I nominate Gilligan, excuse me. This Chris right here for the chair.
I'll second. 6, 7 seconds.
I agree. So,
Usually you nominate one person, you don't need a second. I think do all the nominations in case there's another nomination.
Oh, okay.
Is
So
there any other nomination?
I'll nominate Josh Bloomer to maintain as vice chair. even though he's
Wait,
not-
that first, you can vote on the chair.
Oh, we do? Okay, sorry. Okay, so we had a first, second, and a third.
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I'll nominate Josh Bloomer as vice chair.
So do we second or we just vote?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the procedure, yeah.
Okay. So, thank you all.
Yeah, and because he's not here, this is a very good idea.
So we
It's
should
only
vote
fair.
on that too.
Yeah.
yeah. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we stay with the same outfit. So we can move on now to item number 3, the agenda status report. David?
Closer to the mics. We do have some changes for today's agenda. Item C1, items being requested to be dropped. They're still working on the plans. Item number 2 is to be dropped. We don't have a return date for that one. I know that we did receive some comment letters for that one. I did respond to each one and let them know that the item is going to be not heard today. We don't have a return date in mind, so just kind of keep an eye on the agendas as they come in. Item number 4, we have a request to continue the item to the January 20th meeting. The architect is still out of town for the holidays. And item number 6, we have a request to continue the item to your February 17th.
I make a motion to approve the revised agenda, right? We need a motion for that, yeah.
I'll second.
Great. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Item number 4, the minutes of December 16th. Let's start with that, or should we start with the November? Okay, let's start with December 16th, and then we'll move on to. Dude, can you resend me the invite for the meeting for the Zoom? I don't seem to have it anywhere. Or maybe you sent it last week or the week before.
When we go to page 4, we start with the, yeah, the comments start right there. A little bit farther down, there, 4 and 5, there we go.
Which of these was the eastern more, like it was the second one at the top. Right? Was the one for the,
7 or
yeah,
second one is the one closer to town. Go down a little bit.
Yes, pretty good.
if there's none on the first one, on the second one, I think I had made a comment that might not have made it. Minutes.
Okay, well, let's see that. I think we should mention something about the landscape in relation to the high fire, because there was discussion about, adding screening trees and plantings to stabilize and soften. But we also recognize that, fire requirements for, what is it?
Recording in progress.
High fire
Mhm.
may fly in the face of, being able to put large trees next to their house. So where can we add that?
Landscape panels,
It's sort of in B and F. Leave additional space between residents and introduce more landscaping and screening around buildings.
You just add like, as appropriate for high fire area.
Yeah, exactly.
when you say look at large screening trees and plantings to stabilize slope on F, we can say, study placement of large screening trees. We got high fire,
In relation to high fire requirements.
yeah.
And almost the same thing for B. We should probably just put it in both. Does that work, Alex?
Yeah, so study placement of large screening trees and plantings to stabilize slope in accordance with high fire hazard or high fire requirements.
Provide screening and stabilize slope. Those are the reasons.
Yeah. So you're basically just adding to the end of that. And I think we should also add it to the end of B. More landscape and screening around buildings, for high fire guidelines or whatever. Okay. Number 2, David.
So on number 2, I had made a comment about the massive windows that are in the, I think, southeast corner of the house that look directly at the neighbors. The wording will be tricky.
I think it's a new,
It's a, like that.
I think it would be a new comment.
I
right?
think,
So F.
I mean, a separate, yeah, a new comment to this list, but I did say it, I think.
I think I agreed with you.
Yeah. So trying to remember what it was, but study the massive windows in the southeast corner of the main level,
For privacy,
for privacy.
to ensure privacy for neighboring residents.
Mhm.
Number 3. Is there anything else on items 1 or 2? That are important?
Were there any comments on materials, or we're happy with material, right?
Well, actually,
Isn't there a comment on materials? One of
I
them?
think we mentioned to ensure that materiality for the 2 projects differ more so than we're shown.
We have that C comment that just, it's kind of a statement more than a comment. The project contrasts in style with adjacent proposed residence. Maybe we should be,
Yeah, I think we weren't so agreeable about
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
yeah.
Projects should contrast. Style, I guess, in materials. So I think adding to C, project contrasts in style with adjacent proposed residents. Study additional ways to differentiate the 2 projects with materiality.
They didn't provide a material for it. have
I think we had plaster and
they? I think they
Yeah,
verbally
just-
just told us.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I think there are labels on the plan, but, and I think, to get that second part, Alex, for C,
So study additional ways to differentiate between residents with materials.
yes, and I think you could add that comment to item number 1 also. The whole comment, so. Okay. Anything else? All right. So for item A and F, we want to be more specific about that, restudy roof line and west elevation because, or two. It's not
The entry,
Yeah, doesn't really get at the issue. Same with F, study garage door and patio. Well, I guess F's not it.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what
Yeah.
what was needed there.
Okay, I don't either.
The truth, I have a lagoon here.
it was the entry was tucked in.
Well, that's a B. And I think it should read, make front entrance more prominent. Instead of should be, make front entrance more prominent.
I think it's fine.
Okay, and then F should maybe just say restudy garage door and patio door portions.
The site plan for that project was very challenging to,
There was like
Makes sense
you
of-
couldn't tell if the spot was
Yeah.
in hardscape or
Yeah.
planting. Yeah.
Right.
the whole
so-
site plan just needs
So
to
maybe we should be more
clarified.
specific on D.
Provide site plan.
Or, site plan as presented. Was
Um,
confusing.
Just like
Yeah,
that
It's
clarity.
hard,
Me-
it's hard to read, so depict landscape and hardscape areas existing and proposed.
Yeah, that's what was hard to tell with what was being proposed.
Covered under E.
That was D. Oh, wait, go ahead, same site. Okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
But like from there, we just want to know.
I could add in site plan at the end of E, site plan as presented was difficult to interpret or.
Yeah, I think that would help. It was labeling too. That it's
And then maybe it should be just flipped around a little, provide site plan and elevations showing existing and versus proposed or and proposed.
We'll close that for another round too.
Um,
We okay with 4 and 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Six. 7. What is this? Yep.
So we were struggling to take that. So we will stress them. And Kevin.
The larger, the D, what is the larger column? Where were they?
Were they on the gate? I think they were on the entry gate.
Yeah, I think it was the entry gates.
Okay.
So consider,
It should say, consider larger columns at entry gate.
yes. Also, item C was specifically for landscape. Consider compliance, high fire requirements for plant.
Why don't you add the word landscape?
Just
High fire,
landscape.
landscape requirements.
Yeah, okay, high fire landscape requirements. Thanks.
Okay.
Anything else? Number 10,
Yeah, pretty nice.
summarize it. Okay. A motion to amend the minutes.
So move.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. We'll now move on to the reconsideration of the minutes of November 18th, 2022. And so. let's bring that up. Now specifically for one project.
Which question is that? What number is that?
Number 7.
Okay, so the low new residence and accessory structures. Comments are shown on the screen. Architecture is well designed. Height and massing appear excessive, especially on west elevation. Project should be redesigned to lower height and massing by lowering pad height or plate heights to 1 to 2 feet. And this is the comment that's in question. We have it's like 3 speakers. So we'll give each of you.
Did you want to speak?
We'll give each of you 2 minutes.
Kelly, this filled out afterward. Just come on up.
So let's see. Sorry. Tao fan.
So
Sure. Are you Brianna?
Minutes, which happened directly after the site visit. And
Actually, hold on a second. We need a microphone over there.
sorry.
Yeah, if you could speak up just a little bit. It's
I'm getting over a cold, so my apologies. I will do my best. So in the 8/26/22 approved minutes, the direction was to lower pad height and lower plate height to reduce height and massing, especially on the west side. Now, this was after Chairman Gilliland during that meeting said, you know, his biggest concern was for the neighbors to the west, because it really does feel like that house is looming over them. I think that if it's possible to lower the overall finished floor of structure, then that would be very helpful. And you know, a 12-foot plate height is quite high. If you could get that down by 3 or 4 feet, I think, and he goes on, I think you could definitely lower plate heights. That would go a long way. I mean, if it was 10 foot on the west end, I think that would help a lot. This is consistent with what happens then on November 18th. Actually, looking at Mr. Bloomer's comments in context and the full comment, he essentially echoes that. He says, my opinion currently is that, you know, lowering the house a foot or 2, you know, is a possibility. There, it sounds like he's referring to pad height. If you go further on the second page of the transcript, he says, it sounds like the consensus of the board is that although we appreciate the house moving east by 4 feet, there was no attempt to lower the plate heights, and it still remains a tool in the toolkit to ease some of the impact. So there, Mr. Bloomer is talking about clearly plate heights. He's talking about, as it appears to me from the transcript, reducing the pad heights a foot or 2 and plate heights. It would seem consistent with Chairman Gillibrand's prior recommendation. The problem here is that the 11/18/22 minutes as approved does not reflect that. It actually cherry picks one thing that Mr. Bloomer said, and then says, hey, if you just reduce the height by 1 or 2 feet, that would be sufficient. It doesn't mitigate the problem. And I think the consensus of this board overall is that much more than a foot or 2 from either has to be done. The consensus of the board has consistently been, it needs to be both. And you guys have previously provided specification for that. All that we ask is that if the minutes are going to be amended and approved, then that the amended minutes be consistent with what has been the overall consensus of this board since the site visit. Thank you.
So Tao fan.
I don't need to speak. I think Brianna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Liskey, did you want to go next, or do you want Mr. Pike?
I'd rather wait just to hear what the applicant has to say.
Kelly.
Thank you.
Morning. My name is Kelly Tyke. I'm the architect for the project. So in the November 18th hearing, when the minutes came out, we were hoping for a more specific parameter for how much to reduce the house. And so Alex Cujo, he had mentioned to lower the house. He said, I feel that it could be lowered a little bit. And then Josh Plummer said, lowering the house a foot or two, is a possibility. And then he went on to talk about how actually landscape screening would be more important. But since that actual specific parameter was given in the meeting, that's why I requested that it be included in the minutes.
Okay. Great.
And also when you guys did review and to amend the minutes, the board was all in agreement to do so.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Liskin.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Very simply, I think Brianna said everything that I'd like to say. But that being said, I just think that this is a process and we've all spent a lot of times at multiple meetings. And I think that it would be a shame that, we have the video of the meeting on December 2nd, and it was really sort of a rush and aside about amending it. I don't think it was given the attention it might have had. And then finally, I once again supplied the photos to you, which I think those are the ones that you got on the 18th. And I think they make a strong case. When I sit here and I hear you guys talk about a window and a finish, we're talking about a 25-foot wall that might actually be 28 feet tall, which is straight up and down. And I think from an architectural point of view, we have the door open on doing a few things, and I just really like you guys to take advantage of it. And I think that as far as the screening, in my mind, screening's great, but it doesn't really fix the problem because now I'm dependent on a neighbor, and it's clear we're going to have a tenuous relationship to keep his trees, So just thank you and appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just wanted to caution the board, just, I think that Mr. Tyler was going to support their case. What we really are focusing on today is an accurate reflection of what occurred in the meeting on the 18th. So if opinions have changed in between now and then, that's really not on the table for reconsideration. What you're doing is making sure that the record from that meeting is accurate.
Right. Okay. So deliberations.
I think I have to recuse myself from this. I was absent on that.
Okay. You guys want to chime in on
That's when we were both absent.
this? So the 18th
You and I were both.
was the first meeting. How many times did we see this? Sorry.
You saw it in July.
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to remember when I said which comments, because I know that my feeling was,
I don't
July
think there's,
22nd, August 26th. The other.
so I guess if we're simply amending the minutes on the 18th, I don't exactly remember. Because I do remember saying, yeah, 3 to 4 feet, a combination of lowering the pad height and lowering the plate height. But I don't know if I said that on the 18th or if that was in July, but I would stand by that statement. I don't think 1 to 2 feet is going to do much to ameliorate the problem here. So,
Josh was chairing that meeting,
On
and
the
so I don't know that you were there.
okay.
I didn't hear you
Oh, you're right.
in the
'Cause
video playback. I didn't hear you commenting.
You're right. I watched that video yesterday and I
Yeah.
was not there on the 18th.
Yeah,
So those comments that I made were from a previous meeting. So I don't know what changed.
I was absent too. So.
all three of us.
That's right. There were no.
I remember, because Josh said there's no landscape architect here.
So the three of you are absent.
Mhm.
So,
We were all here for the first hearing, but not this.
I was here. I was at the.
That was when we did the site visit.
So can we
Yeah.
have the architect explain to us what
What, maybe I could suggest something. Would it be accurate? So right now it says lower height and massing by lowering pad height or plate heights 1 to 2 feet. So it's an either or statement. Would it be accurate reflection to change the or to an and, lowering pad height and reducing plate heights 1 to 2 feet?
Can I ask one clarification question of Kelly? When you presented in November, had you already lowered either the finished floor, the pad height or the plate height?
We did not, we moved the entire project 4 feet further away from the neighbor.
Okay, but there was no lowering. Okay, just for clarification.
Okay, so I think Alex's suggestion is a good one. How does the rest of the board feel?
Yeah, I think it should say instead of project should be redesign. I think it should say redesign project. Be a little bit more direct because I think that's what we don't want.
Redesign project by lowering.
No, then leave it alone. Redesign project to lower height and massing by lowering pad height and plate heights 1 feet. I think that's pretty much consistent with what we said.
Yeah.
So I have a redesign project to lower height and massing by lowering pad height and reducing plate heights 1 to 2 feet.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So I also, sorry.
Yeah, we can vote on it.
Guidance is
Right. So that's kind of the question.
Oh, we can't.
Do you feel comfortable? I think it's 3 of you, sounds like are going to use. We have 3 who are going to be voting. So do we need Josh to be here before you can actually take a vote?
I think it would be good to have Josh
Yeah,
here.
basically, we don't have a quorum. The 3 of us weren't there. Is Josh
And it was
scheduled to be
his
here
comment
today?
that's being quoted in minutes.
Right.
He did not indicate to me that he was going to be absent today, so we can give him a call to see something if you want to table this for now.
Okay. Let me call him.
Recess. for the-
He missed it in the schedule. I thought it was next week. So he said he could be here in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'd have to, I think we know what's going to be said, but we don't know what Josh's input will add to it. So it appears that we're going to change it as was specified by Alex Tuttle, but we need a quorum in order to do so.
Can you read that back?
Sure. Alex, can you reread
Yeah.
that?
Redesign project to lower height and massing by lowering pad height and reducing plate heights 1 to 2 feet. So I think what that is saying then is those are 2 separate things.
Yeah, so I think almost to be more clear, it could say project to be redesigned project to lower height and massing by lowering pad height 1 to 2 feet and plate heights 1 to 2 feet.
Well, but you didn't say that specifically, I don't think. There was the mention of the plate heights 1 to 2 feet, but I don't think you were that specific
Let's see, okay.
on the pad height.
I mean, I know I was in a previous meeting.
Yeah.
which I didn't make it into the
I have a video, I have to comment on it, stick if you'd like.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
I actually, because I didn't know to be here, I recorded each meeting and I have it on.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I do recall, so I can state that I said lower both, but I didn't provide a quantity for lowering. I just said it needed to be lowered 3 to 4 feet, maybe by a combination of the two. But that was on a previous meeting, so again,
We also have Josh's comments.
right,
Well,
yeah, and he said, yeah, can we bring that up? Because his very next comment was,
I have the video of Josh, if you want to see in the faces. I don't know procedurally, but just in tone and the way things are presented, I think make a difference if we play it.
yeah, no, I understand. I think, I mean, if you look at this
We all reviewed
comment,
it on
lowering
video.
the house a foot or two is a possibility. The very next statement is, I don't know if it's going to completely ameliorate the privacy issue for the neighbor side. So it's not a, hey, 1 to 2 feet's great.
Thank you.
Right, right. And if you go down to the second page, I don't know if you were able to see where they highlighted on the one I offered to the board, sorry, to the top of the second page.
Down. A little more.
Like the first paragraph, second page, there we go. This is where he also says that, if you look 4 lines down, sounds like the consensus of the board is that although we've achieved the house moving east by 4 feet, there was no attempt to lower the plate heights, and it still remains a tool in the toolkit to ease some of the impact. Which is how I interpreted it, that the first one seems to be referring to pad height. And then later, he's like, we haven't addressed plate height at all. And that still needs to be done as well. It just,
Yeah, understood. I think we're gonna have a little more commentary from Josh, and hopefully he can clarify his statement that's highlighted at the top here. But
Chris, your other option is to go back to how it was before, which is to not specify a specific number of feet from the minutes of November 18th. That's how the minutes had been previously.
right,
Kelly Tyke had then asked for the specification of a specific number of feet. And now we're sort of caught in this situation of what exactly was intended by the comments.
yeah, so I
So
think
the one answer or one solution could be just going back to just keeping it open.
I think Josh is gonna determine that when he comments, because it's his comment we're talking about. So I think he can clarify further his intent behind his comment there.
You don't have a forum to amend it at the moment.
Right, yeah, we can't do anything right now because we don't have a quorum to do so. So we're gonna have to,
for it to be reflected in the minutes, wouldn't it essentially have to be the consensus of the board, not just comment by a single member?
well, we're specifically modifying the comments from the November 18th meeting in which none of us were here.
Right.
These 3 were, so we can't add any comments, and
Understood. I was here during the meeting, as were they, and there did not seem to be any consensus or buy-in to that single comment, which
Yeah.
the original minutes, we didn't have a problem with.
so I guess, how do you guys feel about just removing the 1 to 2 feet and going back to a reduction in general? Because I think at some point it's like, I mean, if
Well,
you look at the photos, it is,
I think if it reads like this, redesign project to lower height and massing by lowering pad height and plate heights, I think we're all in agreement, right? If not, but now if they come back with 1 foot, that would not be enough.
right,
So it has to be a substantial reduction somehow achieved,
so,
right? Don't you think?
Yeah,
so do you have the word substantial?
Significant or some kind of a,
yeah, significant.
it's a new word not used before, but I think that was the meaning.
Well, I think it, yeah, okay. So then, can you restate that for Alex?
Redesign project to lower height and massing by lowering by lowering pad height and plate heights significantly, or a significant amount.
And that's
I'm not to object. I want Josh to, I want to hear his comments.
Okay.
Because the way I read that paragraph. Sorry, I think you're too far away from the mic. Yeah,
And we don't have.
I think we need to have Josh's input here.
Yeah, I mean, so just from the person who's taking the minutes, I'm trying to capture the general consensus of the board. So it's not necessarily intended to capture one sentence that was made. So just keep that in mind, okay?
Yeah, the way I read that paragraph is totally different. I mean, the way I read it is that Josh was indicating to me that he's not sure lowering the height and plate by any amount will satisfy the neighbor. And he goes on to elaborate that we might lower it 1 to 2 feet, but his emphasis on the screening, on the hedging. If you read his comments carefully, he's emphasizing screening on the hedging,
Understand.
not the plate lowering.
And also Alex is in his comment during the meeting, he said he feels that it could be lowered a little bit, which is not consistent with saying it should be lowered significantly. So I would object to changing it to say that, because that was not discussed in the meeting.
Since there's some ambiguity.
Okay, the prior comment B is height and massing still appear excessive, especially on west elevation. So that stands. I think it's reflective of the comments. I think your best bet is just just leave it at by lowering pad height and plate heights.
Yeah.
And I think just leave it there. I think the information, everyone now has a recording of the minutes or of the comments and can get a feel for what's expected
Okay, and then we will have further clarification from Josh.
from Josh.
That's when he arrives in an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's best we can do at the moment.
So you can either stick around or I can
We
take your cell
can just say
numbers.
we'll be after lunch and then we'll come back after lunch.
Well, that's,
We may not have lunch.
I think we will.
Oh,
Well, I don't know. We'll
No,
see.
there's a lot of continuity.
Yeah.
Okay, so an hour and a half, from now is 11:15. So, and then I'll try to give Josh a call, and I told him to let us know when he's on his way, and we'll try and bug him a little bit to get here as soon as possible, but let's shoot for 11:15, 11:30. And we will finalize this at that time. So we'll table this discussion, no vote at the moment, and pick that up a little bit later. All right, thank you. That's fun. Okay, item number 5, the S-Bar members informational briefings.
Yeah, I have to recuse myself for
Item 3.
Wow.
Okay, and I have to leave after the morning session.
I do as well. You just come and stand. I believe it's on six.
Yeah, I think we got really try, because I gotta leave as well.
Okay.
We gotta try
All right, well, let's
Three items to get.
to make this
let's
along.
move quickly then and do our best. I also will not be here on the 20th, unfortunately. I made this appointment last year, so before the schedule came out, so I don't plan on missing as many as I have been, but I will be not here on the 20th.
I will not be here on that third. I don't know.
Okay. All right, moving on. Item 6, staff update.
I do have something I want to talk about, but in the interest, I can save it to the end.
Okay. And then is that the summary of the Brown Act updates
That thing, yeah.
regarding teleconferencing?
I'll make it really brief.
We make mistakes. Okay. Anything else on staff update, Alex?
No.
Okay, item 7, consent agenda.
Yes, we had item C1 was continued. C2, that is the 5110 Hollister Avenue, approved as submitted. C3 was approved as submitted. That's the 23 Las Canoas.
I'll move it. Thanks.
And C4 was also approved as submitted. That's C4 is the one on Camino Meleno, 1269 Camino Meleno.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve those three items.
Second.
Submitted.
Okay, second by Ms. Grubb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, that was the consent agenda. We'll now. What's going on here? I think we can now move on to the standard agenda. Beginning with item number 1, Perkins addition. Request of Kirk Gradine, architect for Suzanne and Andrew Perkins, for conceptual review of an addition of 404 square feet to the existing residence by enclosing an existing breezeway and constructing a new front porch area. Half-acre parcel at 991 Winther Way in Goleta. Do we have the applicant here? Please state your name for the record.
Kirk Gradine, architect.
Okay, hi Kirk.
Hello.
If this looks like a pretty, easy, simple project, so if you can present and within 5 minutes or so.
Okay, sure. Well, as you can see, this is a shared driveway. There's another residence with another address that uses the same driveway, and that the existing house is located towards the rear of the lot. And what we're doing, you probably can't see my cursor on your screen, but first of all, I should mention that the ADU that's towards the front of the lot, that's not part of this BAR approval. It's not being reviewed by you. It's not required to have BAR review. So we're just looking at the addition on the main residence, which is involves a new front entrance with a front entrance porch and some steps up. And then there's an existing breezeway between the residence and the garage that we're filling in with new square footage and adding making room for a larger dining room and family room area on the northwest corner of the house there, attaching to the garage. There's no change to the driveway. There's no change to the patio areas, except in the back there where we are adding to the existing steps down. So currently off the back, there's a landing and three steps down to patio and garden area in the back. And we're just extending that out because we're adding some additional doors on the back side there. But other than that, there's no landscape changes or grading per se. No, it's at the back of the lot where the house is located, it's very flat. So I'm not sure. Do you want me to walk through the photos? How do you want me to do that?
Let's go through the elevations. I think it's
really
basic.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see there in the east elevation, which is central on the page, that's the front of the house with the new front entrance and entrance porch. Currently, you can see it's dashed in there. There's a kind of the descending eave that captures the breezeway in between the house and the garage, and we're filling that in and just extending the roof line. And adding, as you can see, there's a new front door, new window adjacent, a new small window that's actually into the laundry room there in the front. Yes, right where your cursor is. And then we're replacing the garage door with a nicer one. And we're also removing, right now there's horizontal siding below a kind of a belly band on the exterior of the house, or wainscot rather. And so there's currently wood siding below that band, and we're removing that wood siding and replacing it with plaster. Above the band, it is plaster, which will remain. So that's on the east or front elevation. Then, the next bigger change is on the back side, where you can see where the existing roof line is and how we're just extending the existing ridge line for the addition. Adding a ridgeline skylight there that's over the kitchen, and then popping out to cover a small addition that allows room for the dining room and doors going out to the backyard there. The other two elevations really are not very substantially affected, except that you're seeing the side view to the porch area that's being added, right? So there's a new gable end over the porch. That's the only changes to those elevations. And there's a section through the kitchen, on roof plan that shows the roof area is added.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient.
Okay, and one thing, I don't know if on the site plan or the floor plan rather, we had included, if you go back to the floor plan A2, that's the existing floor plan, but the new one. Yeah, so this is not the most recent set of drawings I submitted because I included the location of exterior lighting and a fixture that we had chosen. I'm not sure why that's not.
It doesn't matter.
Henry?
It doesn't
Okay.
matter. You can
Okay.
come-
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna-
You're only here for conceptual, so.
Well, we'd like to get a final if possible, because we're matching all existing details. We do have some colors. We submitted a color board. So
Yep.
it is a big deal. We'd rather not come back if we don't have to.
Unfortunately, you'll have to because it's not agendized for prelim or final, and only is for conceptual. So we can
But it
you know,
can be on consent,
yeah, we
which
can-
is very quick.
come back on consent for prelim and final.
And you can submit to the building department.
Yeah, you
In
can,
2 weeks. Oh, we're allowed to submit to the building department at this?
yeah.
Okay.
It's-
All right, I didn't know that. Thank you.
But given that how minor this project
Yeah,
is,
there's
I don't think there's any contention here from the board, so
Okay.
you'd be safe in submitting. So, yeah, that's it.
I think
So,
it's a big improvement and there's nothing of concern for this board.
okay, so there's the basic overall comment.
So preliminary and final on
On
consent.
consent.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Item number 2 has been postponed. Item number 3, the Vernon demo rebuild and accessory structures request. Actually, before we move into this, I just got a text back from Josh. I told him show up at 11:15, 11:30. He said, "How about 10:30?" But I think that doesn't work so well. If everyone else is gonna not come back until 11:15.
So 2 of the guys are still outside.
Really?
Yeah.
Robert, can you see if the folks from the,
They were there, Robert, just to the right.
do we don't have contact info for the other 2.
They didn't take what I offered.
So I'll just see if Josh,
I heard he was talking to them, I think.
okay, let's see what happens there.
We have to have both parties there, like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only just the 2 from one side. Then I'm just gonna see if Josh can do 11:15.
The architect is here, they're hanging until whenever. But the other people aren't.
Yeah, we can't,
We'll get, stick with 11:15.
I mean, we don't have, do we have Mr. Liskin? Must have his contact info, right?
But it's half an hour, they probably gone. I mean, it
Yeah,
would be,
that's only half an hour. I'll just see if, make sure Josh can do 11:15. All right. Okay, moving on to item number 3, request of Sean Lynch from Evoke Design, agent for Brett and Stephanie Vernon, for conceptual review of the demolition of 2,253 square feet of an existing 2,552 square foot single family dwelling with an attached garage, an addition of 3,913 square feet to remaining existing residence, new detached cabana of 490 square feet, garage of 404 square feet, farm equipment storage building, 440 square feet, and attached garage of 775 square feet. A 2-acre parcel, 4655 Via Huerto in Hope Ranch. See the applicant here. State your name for the record and
Hello, my name is Sean Lynch with Evoke Design. I have Brett Vernon, the owner, here as well, if you guys have any questions.
keep it around 10 minutes.
Yeah, perfect. Our project team is, we do have Windward engineers, so they're working through some of the civil slope studies that we're going to be providing at the next round. And then Robert Richards, who stepped down, he's our landscape architect on this. So
Yeah, moving forward, here's the existing parcel is 2 acres. Currently, as configured, as you can see, there's a shared driveway, and part of this scope that neighbors actually have at the very bottom, I guess, southeast corner. The neighbors have already currently sort of reconfigured their driveway, and then with this scope, we're going to be fully pulling our driveway off of their property, so no easements or anything. As noted here, we're going to be removing 1 big pine tree on the west of the existing structure. Pine tree right off the driveway there. Oh, thank you. Okay. Sorry, the red button here. Oh, there we go. This one is in question just based on the current configuration of how we're working it, and then once we get our Arborist report. So next photo, or next page. So here's the site. I'll quickly breeze through. Really, if you start at the bottom right, we'll just kind of go up. Here's Via Horto on the bottom right there. If you scroll a little to the right. Yeah, perfect. So here's Via Horto. You can see the shared driveway right there. It slopes up pretty substantially at the front. And that's the top one here is where they separate. So this is our driveway. That's the neighbors. Again, here's looking down towards Via Horto. And then just quickly breezing through, here's existing residents. Here's this pine tree in question, and we'll show you once we get to the site plan proposed. And then if you just scroll over to the left here, we could just kind of show you some more of the site configuration. This big pine tree right here will be removed with this scope, just based on the location of it. And then you can see there's these very long branches. And again, we'll have an arborist report for that just to show that removal is necessary. And beyond that, the whole lower portion of the lot is pretty undeveloped, and then it's actually backs right onto it's at the very end of Hope Ranch, so it's the backs onto kind of like an equestrian trail right there. So we can touch base on this again if you have any comments. Next page, please. Again, just some site context. Here's our property here. This look, I'm just trying to show a couple of reference of the neighborhood. So you can see there's some substantial, Tuscan Mediterranean style homes, which is what we're taking our cue from. Next sheet, please. Again, here's just sort of more reference. We can kind of scroll through these slowly. You can kind of go through them actually pretty quickly. It's just a very typical Santa Barbara Tuscan Spanish language that we're all pretty familiar with. So this is really what we're drawing a lot of our inspiration from, is these kind of stone, stucco, tile roof, more of a Mediterranean Tuscan style landscape. Some cabana reference images here sort of, and we'll get to that. Keep going. And then here's some sort of landscape, if you keep going down, yeah, sorry. Here's some more landscape kind of reference imageries of sort of our inspiration. Keep going. I believe the next will be the site plan here. So, okay, here's obviously just our demo plan. So you can see most of this structure will be removed. We're keeping about 10 to 15% of it, but essentially it's a substantial remodel. So next sheet. And so I changed this to Project North, so just for reference. And then you can see the outline of the existing structure here. So we're sort of really pushing down the hill a little bit more. The concept is, you can see here now we're pulling our driveway and gate right on our own property, and you kind of come up this way, and then you kind of have a central motor court. And the idea is really sort of this kind of hilltop Tuscan villa in a sense. So we have our ADU with a lower garage below it, our junior ADU, our 3-car garage, and then really the scope here, and it's all single level. So just to let you know, we've been to Hope Ranch 3 times. We started off with a 2-story structure, and just the mass bulk and scale is too big. We kind of went back again for a second review with a kind of a mix. It dropped, still a little bit of a 2-story structure, and then we went back a final time and got our conceptual approval for this iteration here. So next page, please. And so here's the floor plan, as you can tell. So we kind of just have this, nice kind of entryway into 2 structures here. You can see the ADU and garage here. And so you kind of come up, and it's kind of flanked by these 2 kind of entry elements. And then you have your junior ADU and your garage, and then main entry. And then really it's just a nice big patio covered with some trellis, a covered outdoor kitchen. And then we've actually stepped this little portion down here so it doesn't impede your view. So the couple steps down to a lower patio. So if you're up here, you're not really seeing any guardrail. You go straight ocean view. And then you kind of go down, and so pool, spa, and then down to the rear yard there. Actually, if you go back up to the site plan for a minute, I just wanted to show you part of what we're doing too, keep going up a little bit more, is we're putting our cabana back here. And so once we get to the landscape plan, I'll show you sort of the scope in here. I haven't updated it based on our current landscape plan, but our cabana is back here with kind of a retaining wall, some steps down, nice little cabana, another steps down. And we actually have a driveway down. It's about 12% after currently working with our engineers. And then a fire hammerhead here. And then this will be orchard in the back here for privacy, and then hedging all along the property lines for further privacy. Next sheet, please. Go past that one, yeah. And then the basement really is just kind of come down. This is all sort of backfill crawl space. So we're about 6,000 square feet of grading, but it's all going to be balanced on site. So because we're cutting, we're going to be filling a lot too. So really the stairs down, and then a wine cellar. And then all of this is sort of just backfill. Here's the pool, and then kind of just crawl space. So next sheet, please. Roof plan. So our plates are about 10 feet. This entry is about 15 feet plate height, and the rest is about 10. So we try to keep it fairly modest and not go, we worked a lot with Hope Ranch and really getting it down. Keep going, please. Next sheet. And then here's our elevation. So kind of a nice formal sandstone entry. Here's our entry tower with some kind of, clear story windows for light. Really just the very typical Spanish kind of Tuscan vernacular. We have kind of a base of stone as you come up. So you have a nice formal kind of massing as the base. Here's a junior ADU right here. And then here's the rear. So you can see it's just the slope of the site. It comes out. So it's essentially like a walkout, but this is just covered. Doesn't go into the structure. It's more of just a kind of an element to break up that mass and that big wall plane. Kind of a water feature. Here's the trellis elements, and then kind of just some covered roofs and a mix of flat roofs and tile roofs and flat roofs so we can conceal most of our solar panels. Next sheet, please. So this is the elevation that's actually facing the neighbor to the, I guess that'd be north. And we really tried to reduce the windows for that, one for privacy. So this is the kitchen. We really don't have any windows here. We wanted to keep it private. There's one on this wall facing out. And then this is kind of a little pantry room, and then a door into the garage here. And then here's the entry into the junior ADU. Facing the other side, the driveway is right here. And so you can kind of see this nice stone base, and then kind of stucco top or plaster top. And then really, we're trying to just step the massing to really break it up and create a little bit more variation. Next sheet, please. So here's to kind of put it together. So as you come up, it's kind of flanked with some palm trees, and then you kind of have this junior ADU with the garage, or sorry, the ADU in the garage, and then your entry element here, main house. So next sheet, please. And then I'm not sure the scope with the junior or with the ADU, but we did show the plans just for reference. I'm not sure if that's part of this purview, but you can skip through this then. And again, just site sections of sort of the ADU. Next, here's the rear elevation of it. Keep going down, please. And then here's a cabana. It's just really simple plaster. Go down a little more so you can see the floor plan. So really you kind of have this covered kind of little fireplace, lounge area. And then you have an habitable kind of like bar lounge, and then another kind of little lounge space with a little bathroom there. So it's, that's our cabana. Next sheet, please. And then here's just some site sections. So the plate height down on this basement here is about 10 feet, or sorry, so the basement is actually about 7'6", sorry. And then like I said, the plate height is 10 feet. So just wanted to show some site sections, and we're well below the height limit. We are in the Hillside Design District, so that's part of it. Next sheet, please. Again, just some further site sections. Via Horto is down here, and so it's just kind of hugging in this hillside and really trying to cut into it to reduce our mass bulk and scale. Next, please. And then here's our kind of material palette. We want to go with more of a Tuscan style roof. I'm almost done. I'll just wrap up here. why don't you go down to the landscape plans? So you can see it's kind of just kind of just more really taking it all from Tuscan style. So you kind of have some fruit trees down here. These are existing avocado trees that we're keeping, and that's really going to help conceal and create a little bit more privacy for the ADU in this location. And you can see there's nice kind of decorative paint paving, nice formal lawn down here. And that's sort of why we put our cabana here, is that the idea is, you know, the client will be here with his, you know, cooking, and then he has a nice area to watch his kids here in the lawn. And then the cabana is just down a little bit further with the little, you know, trellis structure, and then another big orchard kind of element back here. Yeah, pedestrian circulation sort of just through these little paths here, meandering lavender. Let's see. I guess if you guys have any questions, we can talk on the landscape plan.
Great, thank you very much. Bring it back to the board for questions.
Yeah, I had a question. The cabana has a flat roof, right? I mean, you go back to,
Yes.
because I saw like a vaulted, I mean, you have images and then you have drawings, and it's a little bit like go up a little bit. Yeah, which is which? Yeah, go, there you go. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it's just a flat roof, so you can kind of come up and you can have some stairs. There's a fireplace down here, so it'll be kind of a little rooftop element just cut into the grade here. And then this is, you know, this is the stairs down. Actually, these stairs never got shown on here, but so there are some steps up to the rooftop, and then it's really just a kind of a.
But so the drawings on the left do not relate to what
you're. No, these are reference images.
Because yeah, you have a vaulted ceiling and you have a roof.
Yeah, it's inspiration. This is just to show this.
It's a bit confusing.
Sorry, yeah.
You need to think a different way.
Yeah, this is a you know, covered patio inspiration.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Other questions?
Did you do story polls for Hope Ranch, and do you have photos?
We did not have any story polls for Hope Ranch.
So you went with a 2-story version first?
Yeah.
And then redesigned, and then they didn't ask for story polls once you redesigned?
Exactly. Once we got down to the single level, they were much more happy, and so we were able to not require story polls at that time.
Okay. And then my other question is, you said your cut and fill is balanced, but it's a big number. So
yes.
It's hard to see from what you've shown us what's causing all that. Are you taking off the top of this knoll, or what's happening?
Yeah, so sort of where the garage and ADU are, we're going to be cutting into the hillside to bring down our mass and kind of bulk. And so that cut will be used for fill for where the main house kind of terraces out just because of the grade. So it's going to be backfilled.
You have a site section that shows that we
go up one more, up again. Sorry, it's down. Site section should be one more, maybe. Yeah, here we go. So you can see here, so we're going to be cutting a lot of this area here, or sorry, this side. So we'll be cutting, you know, some of this area. Again, we have our civil, so we'll make sure obviously next round too, we have full civil drawings. And so we're
looking at that, it doesn't reflect to me 6,000.
Well, a lot of it too will be based on grading out the new roads, the new driveways up to it. So part of that will be grading, leveling, recompacting, and then a lot of the dirt that will be cut from here and some of this area will be reused in the basement to backfill some of the areas underneath the existing structure, just to try to level it out and have you know, slab on grade as much as possible. Obviously, we'll have some raised foundation, but so it is 6,000 cubic yards, but we have talked to the engineers and we will be balancing as much as possible.
And the new driveway, is it causing retaining walls or?
No, it really follows the existing driveway that kind of comes up, but we will need to, you know, study engineering it just to make sure, one, it meets fire. The house, I think, is from the 60s, 50s? 40s. So the driveway is probably from the 40s as well. So we just going to be needing to kind of engineer, at least look at that. But a lot of it will be just really for the excavation of the house and the basements and the pool and all that kind of stuff.
I have another question. Where's the farm's equipment storage?
Yeah, so that's right. It's below the ADU. So part of that is let's see, right here. So here's a driveway in, here's, you know, the ocean's out that way. So it's really right in here is our farm equipment. And so that'll be, you know, tractors, orchard stuff. So, and originally we looked at having a paved driveway to it, but the retaining walls and the engineering was just too much. So really it's going to be more of a graded kind of gravel path, and it won't be for any kind of vehicles. It'll mainly just be for farm equipment, lawnmowers, stuff like that.
Can you show where that is on the site plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep going down. Yeah, go down, go to the proposed, and I'll show you. Sorry, yeah, one more down. And so right here, you can kind of see this gravel driveway that'll be coming off this main here, and it'll be tucked underneath this right here. And part of the whole reason too for that is the client's father, they're aging, so part of this they'll be moving into this unit, and so it really needs to be at level with this motor court. So that was sort of what drove a lot of the placement of this and the garage below. And so really this is be the portion where you kind of come into this kind of gravel, you know, dirt road, and then you come in and that'll be your equipment storage below.
And then you have the new driveway going towards the back. And then, so can you make that turn with a fire truck?
Yeah, I do. If you go down, I think to the roof plan, I did show, up there you go. Sorry. One more up. Here you go. So I do show the radius here, so we can make it. We have started talking to the fire department. We don't have approval from them yet, but that, you know, we wanted to make sure we get conceptual approval before we fully have them vet out our plan. So
while we're on this sheet, can you show where the existing parts of the house are to remain?
it's really a little bit of this portion over here, so a very small sliver.
So just so you can call it a remodel instead of new construction.
A little bit, yes.
Okay, just curious.
You know, you use the expression junior ADU.
Yes. It's just a smaller ADU. It needs to be attached to the primary structure. So it's just, you can do an ADU and a junior ADU, and the maximum size is 500 square feet.
Okay, and then the crawl space / basement, is that a usable space or is that?
No, it's not usable. We made sure we showed that the ceiling heights are less than the 7.6, which are required for considered a habitable basement. So we've dropped it down. It'll just be more crawl space for mechanical, that kind of stuff. So if you go down one, you can see this is the only portion at this time that we're using for just wine. You take the stairs down and it's more wine. We may have some mechanical down here. We haven't fully vetted out with our engineer yet, our mechanical engineers, but at this point, we're not really using any of this space for anything. Here's the pool, and then this is below the primary structure.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? If so, please raise your hand. All right, see no hands, no one in the audience. Back to the board for comments. Mr. Verdiak.
Well, on your entry door, what kind of surround is that?
It'll be like a sandstone, a larger format, more of like a monolithic type, similar like to the courthouse, bigger kind of panels. So we wanted to have a nice formal kind of entry sandstone element with more of a smooth kind of expression around the actual door itself. And then we'll have it, you know, flanked by a couple olive trees. And then this is the laundry, so nice big kind of windows on each side as well.
All right. I appreciate your entry court there. It looks like a plaza in the village there, which is, I think, will be successful.
Thank you.
Oh, we need to make sure can you hear John, Alex, Tuttle?
Yeah, I could hear John.
Ms. Brasher?
Yeah, I think it looks fine. I did have another question about, you have a lot of in your suggestion images of cypress trees, the tall.
Mhm.
Are you planning to do that?
There's a few locations we were planning on it, but that was our initial concept. A lot of these were carried over from our initial kind of design review. But after talking with Robert Richards, our landscape architect, two, there's some fire issues that they're very flammable. So we've really reduced a lot of it, but there are some locations. Where is this?
Top of the lawn?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right here. You can kind of see these little elements here. So just to kind of give you that feeling of that kind of cypress, kind of Tuscan feel. So, but originally we had proposed wanting them all the way up here. But again, after talking with kind of realizing the high fire impact of them, we pulled back to just specific locations.
Well, yeah, I'll leave that to the landscape architects. Can you go back to the elevations? Yeah. So, yeah, it's got a nice flow to it. Only in the center portion on the lower elevation, it's a little hard to read it, but maybe it's the small openings at the top seem a little out of scale with everything else that is going on in terms of the fenestration. So I'd just say maybe, because it's such a strong feature, look at how to maybe study it.
Yeah, this was driven obviously from this side because we have this large entry. We wanted the interior to match. So I'll be happy to study maybe bringing the trellis up a little bit or bringing that mass out. Yeah, absolutely.
It's bringing the trellis up.
Yeah, maybe some big, we can study. Yeah, maybe doing some big. We'll absolutely study that. That's a good comment.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, this is it's a large project. It has a lot of grading. But it's well designed, it's well organized. I would say that looking at the elevations, it's hard to see exactly how the project works. So you're gonna have to do some 3D renderings that show us how all of this works. Because there are two things going on. On one hand, it's very well organized. On the other hand, things are, they are not symmetric, they are not lined up. And I believe that's intentional and it could work fine. It's just having a hard time getting understanding that completely.
I do have a couple, if I can give these to you, just so you can pass them. These are just some, again, these are raw, so, bear with, we haven't fully developed, but there's some kind of just some perspectives through the software.
Yeah, it's just like your image, the images you show, like you have several pages, they have a certain not sure which is elegance and structure, and it's not really still not reflects on these drawings.
Particularly this one.
Yeah, the use of stone. That is, I don't think you're there yet. And I think it's sometimes it's used as a wainscot. Some of the images you show like full elements like that house in the top, and others that. But yet on your proposal, it's not there. Like for instance, that kitchen wall, so that could be a stone element, like just to match that. Like somehow the images that you show that are very elegant and do not really reflect what you posted. So there is a little disconnect. Like the images, I think you need to bring your design to match that. I'm not sure how else to explain.
I totally agree. That's definitely where we're moving. I mean, just with conceptual, because we went to Hope Ranch 3 times, before we started to fully develop the drawings, we wanted to come to SBAR, make sure we have mass bulk scale blessing. And then from there, obviously we're, coming back for PDA, we'll make sure that, we'll have this fully detailed out. Again, as you can see, we're kind of in a rough stage. We have everything figured out. We just now, once we sort of have the board's blessing, our idea is to really just dig into the details and obviously listen to your comments.
Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more, it's two ways. I would like to see a little bit more of the proposal before, like you say, before blessing. Yeah, I'm not convinced. I mean, I see it's a very ambitious project. It seems like you have the budget to carry it through and not be inexpensive. And I just want to get some reassurance that the image that you're showing, what you're going to get at the end, because these renderings still don't show that.
Yeah.
Well, and the inspiration images are distracting in a way. You know, they're nice to look at, but that's not what we're looking at. We need to look at how you're executing.
Well, like you have like deeply recessed windows, let's say on the upper left. This is one of the Spanish architecture. Then you have the other Italian look.
Yeah, sorry, these were originally for when we were proposing, go up to the images above. These are more of the inspiration materials.
But I don't see what, let us talk a little bit, like the upper left, upper right, excuse me. I don't see anything like that in what you are showing.
This is more the stone cladding kind of, this is,
But it's carried to the, from the base to the roof, and the openings are recessed, and there is the combination of steel and stone and tile. There's a certain thing, so you're showing that, and then the drawings show something different, so I don't.
well, these are just inspiration. We're not trying to copy these images.
Let them.
Okay.
We're not really.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, okay, good. Ms. Grubb.
I think the conceptual landscape plan looks good. I think Robert's strategy of putting the Italian cypress further from the structures is good, and he'll probably need to show an offset for fire approval. But minimizing them is just going to be good from a fire perspective. But I understand their use in this kind of style of architecture and landscape architecture. Plant palette looks good. And building on Alex's comment, I think what has so much impact in some of these inspiration images is which masses have the stone veneer on them. And so choosing maybe some of the larger, more impactful masses, I don't know, that's what draws my eye on the concept images. So I should go a bit further.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I agree. I think there's some more development here, but the direction is good. It is ambitious. There are a couple things that weren't mentioned. Oh, can you go to the elevations real quick? This is kind of it's pervasive now, but one comment would be to remove the vegetation that's blocking the structure, because it's hard to see, you know, behind those trees. We don't know exactly what the building itself looks like. If, you know, I know it looks nice to have the trees, they can be off to the side or whatever, behind or whatever, but just remove vegetation in front of the building. And then the only other thing I had, I think, was wondering how you'll be screening along that, I think it's the eastern property line where the new driveway goes to the back of the site. What kind of, you know, the roadway looks to be right on the property line. Is there a buffer there, and will that?
Yeah, can you go to the landscape plan? It's the very last sheet. Yeah, so that should be, I think there should be a ficus hedge all along here. Most of this you can see in the back is already existing. So, you know, we are pulled off. So the idea is, you know, just to have that hedge kind of come all the way, essentially the whole property line. As you can see, this neighbor right here actually built right there, there's actually an issue right now with their water coming on because they built right to our property line with their driveway. We're actually building, are going to be putting in hedging, obviously all on our side, and figuring out what with the swale and drainage issues here. But the idea would be to have hedging all along here, ficus hedging.
So on top of that, Hope Ranch has already approved the fence and hedge around the property.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, you're so close to that house on the east, and so, you know, ficus hedge, it's just, you don't have much depth to work with. You're developing the entire site, and it's a lot of hardscape and a lot of driveways. I don't know what you do about that, but I'm just kind of trying to make sure that the neighbors aren't impacted so much either, and that, as you have been.
Yeah, we can look at pulling this off a little further to ensure that we have, and I'll talk to Robert about that, making sure we have adequate.
Once you get past that house,
yeah,
it's not going to benefit you to go inward. it's kind of like right along where the.
Yeah, right here.
But then your house is pushed all the way. So there's not a whole lot of planting area
Mhm.
in this plan, I guess is what I'm getting at.
On the other side, so to the east of the property, that whole hedge is, they have bamboo that's like 30 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
Running down most of it, and then another tree between the,
Mhm.
the two houses right now.
Okay.
So it's pretty well screened between that already.
Okay.
And then obviously on our side, we're looking at planning that the hedge material is going to be like a couple feet wide, but provides room for like 10 plus feet. So
Okay, and what's the width on that driveway going to the back of the property?
Yeah, 12 feet. And then clear, we'll have, with fire department, I believe you need 16, so we'll have that. And then this is 18 between these two here.
Yeah, and then so are you adding 2 entries? Are you keeping one and adding a second?
This one is the new one because again, right now it comes off here and comes up. So we have this one, and then we do have a secondary one just to be able to come in for more kind of equipment storage or,
Service entrance.
yeah, service entrance.
Isn't that really steep to the left?
It's under 20% probably in this area right here. So
Other side, the other entrance on the left.
oh, here, no, this should be, what would you think that is once we?
it's at like 12 to 15.
Yeah, I know, this is 12 right here, so this might be a little bit steeper just as you come up and turn, but right now this is this is probably existing like 8 to 10% right
Okay,
from there.
I guess the comment there would be just, we'll want to see what the fire department has to say.
Absolutely.
Circulation.
Currently, that's engineered to less than the fire department's kind of engineered driveway standard.
Okay,
We've been talking with the planner. We're going to be providing, slope analysis and all that stuff. So when we come back, we can.
the other thing was, we want to see the civil plans. And what's the material on the driveway?
This one here.
All of them?
This will be probably chip seal. I think coming up here, this will be more of the gravel, and then this will just be, we'll work with the engineer. I think it needs to be chip seal as well. Again, we'll make sure we meet their weight requirements.
Doing chip seal on the entry drive and you're at 12-15%, that's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, no, it's either pavers or. concrete.
Okay, yeah.
That's the entry drive. That
Yeah.
makes sense, yeah. Okay,
I have one more quick thing. Could you give us a site section that runs the whole, just,
From all the way here?
yeah, that.
Okay.
takes you from, back by the service entrance down to the lower.
yeah. And then lastly, just entry gate design.
Which direction is that, Val?
Page north to south.
And now it's the same east-west as well. across.
Okay.
So that you see property line to property line.
You also see the house next door.
Yeah.
So you see what's happens on the right and the left.
Kind of want to get an idea of what elevation each house is at. So yeah, then the entry gate design.
Yep.
I think I didn't see anything there.
No, we have. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, so return for, say, further conceptual / prelim.
Was there any interest in site visit or story polls or no?
Doesn't appear to be. Yeah, I mean, not story poles. I mean, it's a 1-story structure. It is sprawling. But site visit, or I'm not seeing a direction for that. So no.
So
But we just need more site context information. And I guess lastly, I'd say, I don't know, just wrapping a whole property in ficus hedge is not a really nice way to go about things. So if you can break that up. And somehow, I mean, certain areas, obviously you're gonna have to, but if there's other ways, so it's not so,
plop in a strategic tree here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just so it's not a full hedge,
yeah,
100 feet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll absolutely study that.
Okay, great. So it was returned for further conceptual and preliminary then.
Great.
Board. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
All right. Item number 4 was continued. Yeah. missing words today. So nice. Item number 5.
Second by Robert.
Okay, and then the microphone.
We're still telling the minutes people 11:15, right? They
Yeah,
were standing out there. and I
Josh
told
didn't
them
get
that.
back to me about, but
I
yeah,
know.
we told everybody 11:15.
I know they. They're
They're excited. Okay, item number 5, the Guidi new dwelling. Request of Michael Senthion, agent and architect for the owner, Eugenio Guidi, for further conceptual and preliminary approval of a new 3,760 square foot residence, including a 706 square foot garage on a vacant parcel at 1453 Orange Grove Avenue in Santa Barbara. This will be the 5th time hearing it. Last heard November 4th of last year, 2022. Do we have the applicant here? Please state your name for the record.
Okay.
Not seeing him. I don't see him. Okay,
Okay, moving right along.
moving along. Then I guess we'll table item number 5 then. We don't have an applicant. And we'll see if they show up later, but item 6 was continued
Okay, that was-
as well. Moving ahead then to item number 7, the Kabat remodel and addition, request of Buildston Architecture agent for Andy Kabat for conceptual review of an interior remodel in addition to the existing residence of 500 square feet.
Yeah.
And it's located at 2825 Hidden Valley Lane in the Toro Canyon area. Do we have an applicant for this? Please state your name for the record. I see Ken.
Morning, I'm Ken Vermillion with Buildston Architecture and Planning.
Hey, hi, Ken. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and present, and then it looks pretty straightforward, so keep it short.
Sure. And again, I was planning to be there in person. I'm not sure if Ellen is there. She may be, but because of all the no-shows, I guess I'll do it from my desk here at the office.
Yes,
This is a kind of complete exterior remodel and renovation of what we believe was originally a 4-car garage building. It's 20 feet by 40 feet. And we are including a small, a little over 500 square foot addition to provide a little bit more living space for the owners. It's a very secluded property. We are not changing the height much. It's a single-story structure and will remain that way. There's a large stone wall with 2 wood entry gates that you can tell from the photo there at the center bottom is quite a bit higher than the existing structure. So we don't see this this structure being viewed at all from the street when the gates are closed. But we're doing a few things to kind of clean up the exterior and like I said, provide a little bit more living space for the owners. So let's go down. There's the overall site plan. It's a very unique property. It's a large property with Hidden Valley Road running through diagonally the middle of the property, just about. It leaves us a very small window for our buildable area. And you can see the 20-foot setback from the Hidden Valley Road dashed line there. And the existing 1-story house does encroach on that slightly in the upper northwestern corner, but none of the new added area, of course, is within that setback. Again, keeping it 1-story, cleaning up some existing sheds that are in setbacks and whatnot, and kind of creating a new entry and courtyard area. You can see the distance away from the driveway. You can see the 2 gates. Openings would be the single lines along the wall, along the property. And then you can see the stone wall is the diagonal hatched continuous set of double lines there along Hidden Valley Road. And so there's the existing street elevation roughly across from where the house is situated at 161. And again, our finished floor is almost 6 feet below that existing road surface. So here's the concept. We've basically taken the garage module 20 by 40 and created 2 more modules, one of which is essentially a connection and a courtyard, and the other is the new living space that we've created. So each of the yellow and blue volumes are 20 by 20 to coincide with the 40 by 20, what we refer to as the double module for the existing building. The existing building has this existing appendage on the front that serves as its entry currently. It's also got an existing appendage on the exterior, which is a strange laundry room that we're going to remove. So that's not going to be part of the overall project, but we decided to embrace the appendage that serves currently as the entry on the driveway side and convert that with a kind of plan remodel of the entire inner workings of the house. And so what we did is currently the entry is in that odd shaped place. The door doesn't quite even open 90 degrees to allow entry, which is an odd condition. So we're rectifying that with our new plan. Here are the elevations. The north elevation is essentially the elevation that you see when you come in the driveway. There you see the appendage on the right. The material concept is to highlight the 20-foot wide bar that's continuous now for 80 feet and a cementitious panel rain screen system. And then wherever we carve into that bar or protrude out from that bar, we're suggesting something like a vertical wood siding. That would also be a rain screen situation.
Okay. I think it's pretty clear.
Yep, it's clear.
Thank you, Ken. Anything else that you want to share?
Just that it's a very modest, simple project, and we feel like we're providing a great cleanup of the existing structure and making it so much better at the same time, avoiding a septic tank situation and providing a bit more living space for the owners.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question about the materials. How is those panels, those I guess cement panels? What happens with the joints? How does it work?
In a rain screen, the joints are left gapped so that the wall breathes. The rain screens are one of the most effective energy consumption solutions for exterior walls. In other words, the weatherproofing is behind the rain screen, so it allows ventilation. There's a gap of anywhere from a half to an inch of airspace that allows the exterior to be vented, which actually greatly improves energy efficiency of the structure.
Right, so panels are attached to with I mean, how is the installation? And you're gonna see the screw.
Yeah, it's a metal or wood batten strip situation. So if it's vertical panels, the battens are horizontal. If it's a horizontal application, the battens are vertical.
So they would,
yeah.
Okay.
And in this case, it would be exposed screws, but they would be, made to match the tone and color of the cement panel. And there's a few shades of gray. We happen to like the medium color, and we're happy to bring that in with our next meeting to get into the finishes more.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions?
What material are your doors and windows?
Those are aluminum clad wood. So again, a strong energy efficient system without having to go with the full thermally broken aluminum. So the exterior will be an aluminum clad. And we're not exactly sure the finish color of that, but we're leaning toward just a clear anodized look.
Okay.
But it could be any number of painted colors. There's probably 30 standard colors in this manufacturer that we're considering.
And then what's happening on the property on the other side of Hidden Valley? That's part of this. What's the plan for that?
There's the owner is working on something or working on some partnership deal with another resident, and I'm not fully apprised of exactly how that's going. But there's nothing on the other side of the property that is in our scope or is in our scope of services for the client.
And there's no landscape proposed there or anything? Because right now it's kind of construction fenced off.
There is a construction fence, and I just don't know the latest status of what that means and how that works with the neighbor that is, like I said, talking with the owner.
Well, maybe you could bring us information about that next.
We'd be happy to share that next time. Absolutely.
I'm
I'm here